Hello, folks. Here we are. It is Monday, November 23rd. We're nearing in on Thanksgiving and our Thanksgiving break. And so what I wanted to go over today was I wanted to clear up the last bit of our transport. We spent like all of last week working on diffusion and osmosis because those two are unbelievably important to the New York State Regents. And we did that through one of the 4 New York State Regents labs. What we're going to do today is now we need to finish the other side of that coin. We covered most of our passive transport on this side. Now we also need to look at our active transport on the other side. And we need to see what the differences and the similarities are. So this will be quick, but still very important. All right, so last week we kind of finished talking about how you could really make some money if you learn how to manipulate human biology. Movie theaters do it by serving you very dry, salty popcorn and then overcharging you for the drinks. The popcorn will make you thirsty. It will trigger thirst. Your brain will want it, and it will find that price point more acceptable because we want to drink something liquid now. Theme parks make use of it by not providing you more shade and cover. They could. They choose not to. Because once again, if you're wandering out in the sun for hours and hours and hours, you are going to be so much more likely to buy something to eat and drink at one of their kiosks as you get more and more dehydrated by the direct sun. But moving on past that, what is our last form of passive transport? Well, that's going to be what we call facilitated diffusion. This is still diffusion. It still works the same way. There is no energy being used. It is still moving from high concentration to low concentration, just like all of our other passive transports. The only difference now is that we have a protein. You can see them. It kind of looks like this coin purse thing sitting in the cell membrane. And that protein will grab one, roll over to the inside of the cell, let it go, and then roll back outside to get the next one and back over again. And it'll just keep doing that as long as there's a high concentration and a low concentration. It'll just help stuff cross. That finishes up all of our passive transport. No energy, high concentration to low concentration always. Our active transport. Now, active transport, thankfully, is really just one thing. There's no different variants of this to go. Active transport is the opposite of being passive. If you are being passive, you're just relaxing, just chilling. You're not really spending any energy. If you're being active, on the other hand, well, active, you're moving, you're doing things, you're spending energy. That's the key. Active transport spends energy. And you can see it right there at the top, requires energy. Now, why does it require energy? Because now we're trying to move in the opposite direction of life, right? Everything in the universe wants to move from high concentration to low concentration. Now we want to go in the opposite direction. So if you jump on an escalator, nice and passive. Whichever direction it's moving, you don't need to spend any energy. You will get there. But if you want to go opposite that escalator, you have to spend twice as much energy as it would normally take in order to fight back both its motion and the normal forward motion that you would want to make. Active transport does exactly that. Now we are going to take stuff from the low concentration where there's very little of it, and we are going to shove it. We are going to push it. We're going to force it to its high concentration. So everything's trying to come this way, and instead we're going to push it that way against its concentration. So the best way to think about this is this idea of a pump. right? Water pumps in basements, a sump pump. Those things are all designed to take water that enters the basement and pump it back out. It's designed to take water from the water mains underneath homes and streets and pump it up into the house. Pumps take energy. They need electricity to function. So does this form of active transport. It must have energy because it is pushing stuff against their concentration. If we were to take a classroom example, over there is the door out of this classroom. If I were to fill this whole classroom and put 100 people in here, apart from violating every law of COVID, this room would be unbelievably packed. Then I open up the door. Where are people going to want to go? How are people going to move? Well, if I open up the door and we've got 100 crowded people in here, people are going to want to leave. Now, if I stand outside that door, and as every person tries to push their way out, I grab them and I try to push them back into this room, it's going to take a lot of energy. I'm working against nature. I'm working against the concentration gradient. I am pushing them physically against where they want to go. That is active transport. Now, we do have some examples of this in cells. This is one that you actually saw in the questions for the lab last week. What is our best example of active transport? It is going to be this. It's called a contractile vacuole. And basically, this is in specialized fresh water, usually one-celled organisms. And as water flows into them, because they are in a hypotonic environment, pure water around them, not pure water inside them, so more water outside, water flows in, they will pop, they will burst, they will die, unless they have a means to push that water back out. And so the contractile vacuole does exactly that. It pumps the water constantly back out of the cell in order to keep it okay and alive. So let's take all of these then, and let's line them up next to each other so we can see that osmosis and diffusion move from high to low. No energy is required, and the terms that you're going to see linked to these: cross, move, and diffuse. Facilitated diffusion moves from high to low. No energy is required. And the common terms you're going to see are cross, move, and diffuse. So you'll notice I've colored both of those blue because those are our passive transports. And then the one that doesn't match, active transport, will move things from low to high, up the hill, using energy. And the key terms there is look for the term pump or push, because they require energy and power to pump or push. Alliterations. All right. Hopefully that makes it more clear. All of this is available in your notes. If you have any questions, please let me know. But this is where we're going to stop today because next is our project. Have a great day.